March 27, 1995, Milan, 9 o'clock in the morning. Maurizio Gucci, the last heir of the Gucci dynasty, walks into his office. Moments later, 4 gunshots. He falls on the marble steps, his briefcase crashing beside him, blood spreading across the floor of a fashion empire. The heir to Gucci was dead. But who wanted him gone? A bitter family feud? A business rival? Or something even closer, darker, and more personal? Behind the glamorous image of Gucci, the runways, the handbags, the glossy magazine covers, there was a dynasty torn apart by greed, betrayal, and obsession. And in the end, that obsession turned deadly. This is the dark side of the Gucci family. A story of power, betrayal, and murder. Before we continue, a disclaimer. This story is based on court records, media reports, and publicly available sources. Our interpretation is subjective. We encourage you to question it, verify it, and draw your own conclusions. Now, let's go back to where it all began. Florence, Italy, 1921. Guccio Gucci, a humble leather craftsman, opens a small shop making suitcases and saddles for the wealthy elite. His name, Gucci, quickly becomes synonymous with Italian elegance. But from the very start, this was more than a brand. It was a family business. And with family came pride, ambition, and envy. As the decades passed, Gucci grew into a global symbol of luxury. But inside the family, cracks were forming. Sons and grandsons fought for power. Cousins dragged each other to court. The Gucci empire was no longer united by heritage. It was divided by greed. By the 1970s and 80s, the family wasn't just competing with rivals outside. They were destroying each other from within. And in that chaos, one man, Maurizio Gucci, would rise to take control. A decision that would lead, years later, to the sound of 4 gunshots on a quiet Milan morning. Luxury was the face of Gucci, but behind the logo, the family was eating itself alive. After the death of Guccio Gucci, his sons inherited not just a business, but a battlefield. Aldo, the visionary, wanted to expand globally. Rodolfo, the traditionalist, clung to heritage. Paolo, the rebel son, dreamed of his own empire. They didn't cooperate. They plotted. They spied. They sued each other. Meetings turned into shouting matches. Boardrooms turned into war zones. In the 1970s, Aldo Gucci was accused of tax fraud. His own son, Paolo, leaked the documents to U.S. authorities. Father and son dragged each other through court. The Gucci name on trial, torn apart by betrayal. By the 1980s, the family was fractured. The brand was still glamorous to the outside world. Stars wore Gucci on red carpets. Magazines praised Italian elegance. But inside the dynasty, it was chaos. Lawsuits, scandals, broken alliances. Into this storm stepped Maurizio Gucci, grandson of Guccio. He inherited not just shares of the company, but enemies on every side, and the choices he made would seal both his fate and the fate of the family name. Patrizia Reggiani married into the Gucci dynasty in 1972 when she wed Maurizio Gucci. She was glamorous, ambitious, and always dressed to kill. To the outside world, she was the perfect match, a woman of elegance, luxury, and style. But behind the diamonds and the designer gowns, there was fire. Patrizia wasn't content to be just a wife. She wanted power. She wanted control. And she believed Gucci was as much hers as it was Maurizio's. When their marriage began to crumble in the 1980s, her obsession turned toxic. Maurizio left her for another woman, leaving Patrizia furious and humiliated. The divorce stripped her of status, of influence, of her seat at the table of Gucci. The Italian press gave her a name, La Vedova Nera. She played the role well, appearing at parties in furs and jewels, while privately consumed by rage. To Patrizia, Maurizio hadn't just betrayed her. He had stolen the empire she felt was rightfully hers, and as her anger grew, so did her obsession. An obsession that would one day pull the trigger on the Gucci dynasty. March 27, 1995. Via Palestro, Milan. 9 a.m. Maurizio Gucci arrived at his office as he did every morning. He stepped out of his car, briefcase in hand. The doorman greeted him. Moments later, 4 shots rang out. 2 bullets struck him in the back. He collapsed onto the marble steps. A 3rd shot hit his shoulder. The 4th, delivered at point-blank range, finished him. Blood spread across the polished stone floor. His leather shoes, once symbols of power, now smeared red. The doorman was hit too, wounded but alive, his testimony later confirming every second of what happened. The assassin fled into the Milan streets, leaving behind silence, broken glass, and the corpse of the last Gucci to run the family empire. Forensic teams documented the scene. 4 shell casings recovered, briefcase torn open on the ground, watch still on his wrist, wallet untouched. This was not a robbery. This was an execution. And the question that haunted Italy: who wanted Maurizio Gucci dead badly enough to turn Via Palestro into a killing ground? For nearly 2 years, the murder of Maurizio Gucci remained unsolved. Police followed false leads, business rivals, angry shareholders, family disputes, but none of it fit. Then came the break. A tip from an informant led investigators to a small-time hitman hired for cash through a network of shady intermediaries. The trail led back not to rivals, not to gangsters, but to the woman who once sat beside Maurizio at the head of the Gucci table. Patrizia Reggiani, the Black Widow. According to prosecutors, she paid the equivalent of $350,000 for the contract killing, arranging the murder through her psychic and personal friend who acted as go-between. The motive? Revenge, greed, a twisted belief that without her, Maurizio and Gucci itself could not survive. When the trial opened in 1998, it was a spectacle. Patrizia arrived in court draped in fur, dripping with jewels, smiling as if she were attending a gala. The press swarmed. Headlines screamed, "La Vedova Nera." Inside the courtroom, witnesses described secret meetings, phone calls, and Patrizia's growing obsession with destroying her ex-husband. The evidence was overwhelming. The jury convicted her of arranging the murder. Sentence: 29 years in prison. And yet, even then, Patrizia showed no remorse. When asked why she didn't kill Maurizio herself, her reply was chilling. "My eyesight is not good. I didn't want to miss." It was the final act in a family tragedy that had begun as a love story and ended with a bullet on a Milan street. The bullets that killed Maurizio Gucci didn't just end a life, they ended a dynasty. By the mid-1990s, the Gucci family had lost its grip on the company. Shares were sold, debts piled up, and outsiders moved in. First came InvestCorp, a Bahrain-based investment group. Then, in the late 1990s, French billionaire François Pinault and his company Kering took control. The irony was brutal. The Gucci name, born from an Italian craftsman's workshop, carried through generations of family pride, soaked in blood by betrayal and murder, now belonged to strangers. The family fought, sued, and cursed, but it was over. Not a single Gucci sat at the Gucci table anymore. And then, another twist of fate. In 1994, Tom Ford took over as creative director. Within just a few years, he transformed Gucci from a scandal-ridden, bankrupt label into the hottest brand in fashion. Sleek, sexy, modern, Gucci was reborn. The name survived, the glamour survived, the dynasty did not. Today, Gucci is worth billions, its logo shining in cities across the world. But for the family that created it, Gucci is nothing more than a ghost. A reminder that power can be inherited, but it can also be lost. Gucci was born in Florence as a dream of elegance. It became a global symbol of status, wealth, and beauty. But behind every dream, there is a price. For the Gucci family, that price was betrayal. Fathers against sons, brothers against brothers, a wife against her husband. The name they built together destroyed them all. The brand survived, the family didn't. Today, Gucci shines brighter than ever, sold in glass boutiques from Milan to New York, worn by celebrities, worshipped by millions. But for those who carry the blood of Gucci, the name is no longer pride, it is a curse. Because this is the truth about power, it never disappears. It only changes hands. And when desire becomes obsession, it always ends in blood. If you want more dark side stories that shape the world, stay with us. Together, we'll uncover the secrets they never wanted you to know. Subscribe, because the next story waiting in the shadows might be even darker.